So, the patch notes for 1.8 is live. For anybody that doesn't know, the patch is coming out tomorrow on Tuesday, the 5th of December. And I usually don't make a video like this, but it was requested so many times whenever big patches came out that people want me to go over the patch notes and kind of give my thoughts on them and everything. So that is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that you can clearly see everything, even if you're watching this on a phone. And yeah, I think we should just start going through them. I won't go too much in depth about all of these new features, such as West Side Pier. I'm assuming that most people know the big things that are coming to this patch. So yeah, we have West Side Pier. We have a new feature. This is a game mode skirmish, which is basically 4v4 PvP only. So not with any PvE like in Last Stand. And the rank is shared with Last Stand. So and it's been increased from 40 to level 99 to what you can get. That's basically the new PvP modes. Then we also have, of course, Rogue 2.0. Probably everybody knows about that. A lot of people have been talking about this, so I find it hard to believe that you don't really know what Rogue 2.0 is yet. Optimization Station, of course, a really good addition to the game. Resistance is the new PvE game mode, where you basically fight off hordes and hordes of enemies. Works very much like the Call of Duty Horde mode or Zombies mode or something like that. I'll have a video about this all in depth tomorrow on the channel as well, so I'm not going to go into this right now. And of course we have some underground changes, which includes new directives, and you can also come across hunters right now. You've got checkpoints, a whole bunch of other stuff. You can just read this for yourself. This is mostly reward things, new accommodations, new directives, all that stuff. What I want to talk about is the new classified gear, actually, because that's really important to me. There has been a lot of introductions to new gear sets, and there's also been a lot of changes to existing gear sets. So that's what I want to go over. They don't actually seem to be in order that they're written down here. Like I see AlphaBridge, and then AlphaBridge is on the top here. Anyway, AlphaBridge has been sort of. I don't think it has been reworked. I think the 4-piece still works the same. But then the 5-piece gives you 25% more health regen, 10% weapon damage. And then the 6-piece, it's the 6-piece where every time you kill a mob or an NPC or you kill a player or whatever, you get a mini version of a signature skill. So a survivor link, tech link, or a recovery link. And then, that lasts for 6 seconds. But the downside is that you can't use your own signature skill. You basically have to get a kill. And also another thing is that you cannot receive any signature skills from your teammates. So if you're down and your teammate pops a recovery link, he cannot revive you with that. So I don't really think that this is too good. I think it's cool for some PvE, I guess, because you can just plow through content and just get link after link after link. But for PvP, I don't know. I think that relying on your teammates' ults is a whole lot. It's a whole lot more important than proccing your own ults by just getting a couple of kills. I don't really like this for PvE, and then the 25%, I don't really like this for PvP. I do like it a bit for PvE, although it's not even that strong. The 25% health regen is pretty throwaway in my opinion. I mean, this health regeneration, it only applies to out of cover health regeneration. So basically, if you're behind cover, then health regeneration is going to kick in 25% earlier, and it's also going to be 25% faster. But still, like in combat, this does not help you whatsoever. But I guess the 10% weapon damage is nice. I'm not going to complain about that. More damage is always better. Then we get the Banshee, and a lot of people have also been... Wait, what? This is wrong. They haven't updated this yet. Rewards for clearing manhunt are improved while not rogue... Yeah, so this is wrong. This is not true. But we'll get into that soon. The 5-piece, the 4-piece is still the same. The 3-piece is still the same. 2-piece still the same. The 5-piece is 20% looted Dark Zone funds, which is you kill a mob, you get 20% more money, and then you also have another 5% out of cover damage, which is they're both useful, I guess. This is a little bit on the low side, I guess. But yeah, I'm not complaining here. And this is the 6-piece. While Rogue, the time to clear manhunt status has been decreased by 5% for every group member within 10 meters. So basically, you go up to one of those stations, and you press get rid of your manhunt, because that's the way how Rogue 2.0 works. And the more group members are in your area, close to you, the faster it will go. But the other thing, the big thing about this is that while you're not Rogue, while you're just a normal player, the damage that you do to manhunt status players is increased by 5% for each manhunt level that the other agent has. So if you're going up against a level 5 manhunt, it would be 25% extra damage. But this is not true. It's not 5%, it's only 2%. It used to be 5% at the start of the PTS, but I guess someone made a mistake here, hasn't updated it yet, and, well, it's 5% here. But trust me, in the live version, it's 2%, and the total damage is only going to be 10%, because 25 would be, yeah, it would be a bit too strong. So that's Rogue. That's up for you. I think this is going to be really good in the Dark Zone. Not just for players that just want to kill the Rogue players. I think it's always useful to have just a loadout with improved Banshee, with the Banshee 6-piece somewhere in your inventory, so that if you get killed, like let's say you have a player that's better than you, he kills you a few times, okay, no problem, just equip Banshee, and now you have about 40% increased damage to him, because you get 10% out of cover damage, 10% damage to rogues, 10% if you die, 5% out of cover damage because of the 5-piece, 10% more damage here. It's a really good set if you just want to kill a rogue player. Next up, we have the defense set, which is... this does not really display whatsoever what happened to defense. Have they made changes as well? Like, written down the changes to... here, wait, defense. Yeah, it still doesn't show it. It's only the 4-piece. Okay, so basically, defense has been reworked entirely. It's hard to really give you an overview. It's so sad that they didn't do that in the patch notes. Anyway, the 4-piece is when you have your ballistic shield equipped, you will no longer remove critical hit chance from your weapons. Okay, so you get your crit chance back, but it doesn't say that the ballistic shield mods are disabled. Oh, actually it does. I'm retarded. Okay, anyway, so the ballistic shield mod is disabled, so you only have the base shield. You will have your critical hit chance from your weapon. You have it back. And SMGs can be equipped. And then the ballistic shield health is increased by 57% for every 3,000 stamina. So they want to make this the tanking set. Now, I think they also changed the 2 and the 3-piece. But I think we have to go up, screw up, back to defense to check that out. 15% protection from elites and 5% ballistic shield damage resilience. Okay, so the 2-piece is also 15% protection from elites, and then the 3-piece is 10% ballistic shield damage resilience. The 10 and the 15% I think are very, very powerful. This basically means that when you have your ballistic shield up, you're going to take 15% less damage, and you combine it with critical hit save, or critical save, not critical hit save. Critical save, on the move maybe, some other damage resilient talents. You can even stack this with ballistic shield damage resilience mods, which are also 5%, I think. So you have 4 mod slots, which is 20% in total from just the performance mods. Then the base shield, I think, comes with 10% of its own. I think. And then you have another 50% from the gear set. That's about, that's 45% damage resilience just for having the shield up, which is going to greatly reduce the damage that you take. And all damage resilience also applies to the ballistic shield. So this is basically going to make the shield a whole lot stronger versus other players. We'll get back to that in just a second, but first let's look at the 6-piece, because there's a lot to it. Whoa. Okay, no, this is normal. I was like, what? Armor is increased by 30%, but no, this is actually part of the 6-piece. Okay, so when you have the shield out and when you have the 6-piece, melee damage is increased by 2,000%. So basically, you hit somebody, you actually do a decent amount of damage. I think it takes about 8 hits to kill somebody in PvP. So it's not really useful. You're better off just shooting, but it's, I guess, something that they just added. And more importantly, all overhealing that the player receives while he has the ballistic shield up applies to the ballistic shield as healing. So basically, if you're running with the defense 6-piece, you cannot get overhealed anymore. And every time that you are getting healed, that would be overhealed, that amount of healing is going to heal the shield up. Now, this might sound very, very powerful, right? But it's actually a lot more situational than you might think, because think about it. If you have the ballistic shield, if you have the defense 6-piece on, you're basically not running with Vigorous. And without Vigorous, there are only a few sources of healing in the game that can actually overheal you. The Recovery Link, the Overdose, and then also the Master Mod for the support station. The immunity, when you blow it up, you get 33% of your health back. That's also overhealing. Now, I don't see a lot of people running with, with the Overdose. You know, a few people will, but not a lot of people. And usually when they run Overdose, they use it for themselves to get more healing. And you usually use the station, you blow it up when you're about to die, because it's kind of like a last resort thing, if you get what I'm saying. So the only thing that the only real time that this is going to apply to a player is when popping the recovery link, and you usually also pop that when you're about to die. So this, if Vigorous would be included with this, like let's say players now receive overheals from all healing skills, and overhealing is applied to the shield, then yeah, that would work. But right now I feel this is pretty useless as well, just like the damage. But what makes the 6-piece good, I guess, is that after you receive a certain amount of damage on the ballistic shield, physical or exotic damage, and I'll go over what this is very soon, you will buff all your group members within 30 meters. I think it was 30 meters. I also think they did not change this. Maybe they changed this. Maybe it was 15. I think this was 30 or 20. This used to be more. I think they also forgot to update this. But anyway, you buff them for 6 seconds, and the duration of that buff is increased. Yeah, this is also not been updated yet whatsoever. So I think this is 25, 20, 30. It's more than 15. I know that. And then the duration of the buff is increased by 1 second for every 3,000 stamina the agent has, I guess. I think is what it was. And then also another thing that they haven't included yet is that when you have 9,000 stamina, the ballistic shield actually gets an additional 200% health on it. They also just forgot to include that, which is that's strange, man. That's strange. I think this is just a patch notes from the first week. I think this might be just the first week. I don't know. Anyway. After you take a certain amount of damage on the shield, you give that buff, and that buff is either increased armor for the whole group, so that's 30% extra armor. This is additive, by the way, so it's going to push your armor to about 65% increased damage resilience, or not increased, just 65% damage resilience. And exotic damage, the weapon damage is increased by 30%. This is actually pretty hard to proc, because how are you going to take exotic damage from a shield? Flame turret works, but there's a PvP multiplier for it now, which we will soon get into. Which is, it's also not here, but we'll get into that soon. And grenades, but grenades have been nerfed as well. So I think the thing that you're going to proc most is this, which is good because this is by far the most powerful talent. Like you can give your whole team basically 1.5 million toughness for anything above 6 seconds, probably like 8 to 9 seconds usually. And that's going to make your team unkillable for 9 seconds, which is very, very good. So yeah, overall, I think defense definitely has a place in the game, definitely for PvP. For PvE, it's kind of not necessary, but for PvP, if people shoot at the shield, your team is not going to die. They're not going to be able to get killed. But you still have to shoot the shield, because otherwise the shield user is going to fuck you up, right? So it's kind of like, this is a true tanking set. It's just that half of the description here has not been updated yet to what it actually is. Firecrest! Oh god, I hate this set. And no, I don't hate it in the sense that, fire turrets, so bad. No, I hate this because it's so impractical, especially the 6-piece. So I don't think the 2, the 3, and the 4-piece have been changed at all. So they are still what they're in the game right now. And then we have the 5-piece, which is +1 incendiary grenade. 5% turret range. This is really, really weak. I don't even know why put range on it in the first place. Why even bother, right? And then 20% flame turret damage. I definitely think this could have been upped a lot more. But we'll get to the 6-piece because yeah, this is what the important part is. So bullets have a 2% chance to cause an enemy to burn, which is kind of annoying in PvP. But I guess if you have a support station, that's not such a big issue. It's just I don't know. It's kind of annoying. And then burning targets can cause a fiery explosion when killed by bullets once every 10 seconds. This is so bad. Like this is such a bad design, but I'll go into that why. NPC set on fire by your flame turret will burn 25% longer for every 2,000 seconds. This is nice, this is nice. This is actually, NPCs, they're almost permanently on fire if you drop your fire turret next to them, so they basically can't even shoot back at you. But why is this bad? Well, burning targets, think about it. Burning targets can cause an explosion. So you set targets on fire with your weapon, with your fire turrets, with your fire grenades potentially. And every time they die, they explode in a fire explosion. And this explosion has a radius that's bigger than a fire grenade. Now, if you use fire grenades, you know that radius is pretty big. This would be really, really good. The only problem with it is that you can also set yourself on fire with these explosions. So you have to be further than 20 meters away from the enemy, or every time an enemy dies, you're gonna set yourself on fire. Not a very fun experience. So basically that limits Firecrest players to a very specific playstyle, to use an LMG or to just sit in cover from afar. I guess that's what some Firecrest players do anyway, but I don't know. I think it should give you some sort of immunity for your own fire explosions. So, just the 6-piece passive, immune to fire. That would be really strong, but I think that would make sense for the set. Yeah, because this is kind of annoying. Anyway, Hunter's Fate with Hehot damage. Never seen that one before. But yeah, basically Hunter's Fate got a rework. The new 4-piece is also not here, so let me scroll down again. Where was the... Here, Hunter's Fate, the 4-piece. So the 2-piece is optimal range. I think it's 20%, and then the 3-piece is 10% headshot damage. The 4-piece is... this only works with marksman rifles, by the way. But yeah, each consecutive shot, fuck my English, with a bolt action marksman rifle that hits... With a bolt action. That's also wrong. It's with any sniper. So with any shot with a sniper rifle that hits an enemy deals 3% more damage. And the damage bonus is increased by 4% for every... Somebody should really get fired, man. Like, what is this? Anyway, it's 4% for 3,000 firearms. And the bonus damage is removed when you miss a shot. So let me just put this into human words for you. You have a sniper. Every time you shoot an enemy, you get some sort of striker buffs, like extra damage. And the damage is not decreased by 1 for every second. So you hit somebody with a sniper, 10% extra damage. You hit somebody again, 20% extra damage. And it goes all the way up to 100% bonus damage. Now, this damage, the amount of damage that you get is dependent on the RPM of your sniper rifle. So basically you have a semi-automatic sniper, you only get about 5% extra damage per shot. But if you do it with a bolt action, you get about 24% extra damage. These are just numbers that I grabbed out of thin air. I don't know if it's exactly that, but that's basically the idea of the set. You lose all the damage when you miss a shot, or when you have to swap weapons or reload, or after 10 seconds. I think this could be 15 seconds. 10 seconds is a little bit short, especially for PvP. But I guess it's fine. If you're shooting down a hallway, you can build up your stacks. It's not too bad. Then we go to the 5 and the 6-piece. The 5-piece is just 20% optimal range and another... I think this was 15%. 15% headshot damage. Oh my god, dude, these patch notes. And then we have the 6-piece bonus, which headshots double the gained damage increase. So basically, if you would have gotten 24% damage on the body shot with a bolt action sniper, that would now be, what did I say, 24? That would now be 48. And you need 2 consecutive missed shots to actually lose all the damage. So you can actually miss one. You have a little bit more freedom, which is good, especially for PvP. Because if you're trying to go for the head to get those double stacks, you might miss the first shot. You're still fine. You still got the damage. I think Hunter's Fate is going to be very, very good, especially because the gained damage from the 4 and the 6-piece is all weapon damage. And that's going to be multiplicative with headshot damage. So basically, if you have 200% headshot damage on your build and you have 100% all weapon damage from this bonus, then you're going to do 100 times 2. You're going to do like, what is it? Like, quick maths, 400% damage or 500% damage? Something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be really, really strong. Pet of the Nomad is, of course, a gear set that's, talked about by a lot of people because a lot of people think it's overpowered. I don't really think that's the case. I think it's in a very good place right now. Only really good for solo players, but doesn't really provide a whole lot to a team. The 2, the 3, and the 4-piece have been unchanged, I think. And then the 5-piece is another 10% health on kill. For those that don't know what the 2-piece is, it's 15% health on kill, I think. And then the 3-piece was a passive healing over time. With the 5-piece, that passive healing over time is now going to overheal you. And it's actually a significant amount. They changed the way that it works. I think it's now percentage based. So this is actually a very good thing. And then the 6-piece, the 4-piece was when you die, you get a free health bar basically, and then you can get another free health bar in 4 minutes. The 6-piece is exactly that as well, but there's also a 50% chance to not have a cooldown when you proc this buff. So basically, you can get a free health bar, and then there's a chance you can get another free health bar after that, and another, and it's 50% every time. So you can basically live forever if you're the luckiest guy in the world. And it also says take 60% less damage for 10 seconds after this buff is triggered. So basically, every time you get a free health bar, you get 60% less damage, which is extremely, extremely powerful. This has been updated. This has been updated. It used to be 75 at the start of the PTS, and now it's 60. I don't know, man. Somebody's not doing their job properly. But yeah, basically, this is really strong. This gear set doesn't give you damage. It doesn't give you utility. It just gives you health when you kill something. It gives you passive healing, and it gives you health when you're about to die. And damage resilience. So basically what this turns you into a tank. Not a good tank for team play, because unlike defense, which actually makes the team more tanky or gives the team more damage, you're not doing anything for your team here. You're just not dying, which is, I don't know. It's a strong set for solo, but that's about it. Predator's Mark is, this is straight up broken. I really hope that the developers get to reason and fix this, because in its current state, it's just going to be so goddamn annoying. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. The 2, the 3, and the 4-piece are unchanged. The 5-piece is 10% more reload speed, which is a total of 20% reload speed with the 2-piece. Then we have 8% assault rifle damage, 8% SMG damage, and then the 6-piece increases the bleed. Predator's Mark, which makes the targets bleed for 50% of the damage done. So yeah, 50% of the damage. That's gonna be taking the bleed. Sorry, that's gonna be taking the bleed. Then we have the big issue, and that is that Predator's Mark ignores the target's bleed resistance. This is also wrong. This is not true. It's true that it ignores bleed resistance, because bleed resistance does not reduce the damage or the time period. Actually, I don't know. It might reduce the time period. But what they are actually trying to say is that Predator's Mark ignores immunity. So even if you have a support station, an immunizer, or a reclaimer station, you have it up, and you get hit with the bleed, you still get hit by the bleed, and it still does all of the damage. You can't prevent it. The way to prevent it is to actually walk out and inside of the support station. You walk in and out of it. This is because whenever you use a medkit or whenever you reapply the immunity, then for some reason the Predator's Mark bleed is gone. But while you're in, immunity can be used to cleanse the bleed, but it cannot be used to prevent a bleed. So the way to play against a Predator's Mark player is to stand on the very edge of your support station and just walk left and right to constantly cleanse the bleed. It's a super bad mechanic. It's just bad design, and I think it should just be blocked by the bleed. But that's not even the whole picture, because the damage, the damage is just ridiculous as well. The bleed damage is increased by 15% for every 3,000 stamina that the player has, and it can also critically hit, which is based off of your own crit chance and crit damage. So if you have 50% crit chance, 100% crit damage, then the bleed damage is like every other tick of bleed is going to be increased by 100% extra damage. And then when you're at 9,000 stamina, the damage is increased by another 120%. So that's over double the amount of, and it stacks with everything. It stacks with this 50%, or 15%. It stacks with this critical hit. It's just ridiculous. And the worst part is that the user has a ridiculous amount of damage through the bleed, which cannot be prevented in any way. You just have to use this super bad mechanic of walking in and out of support station to actually play against it. And then the user, because he has 9,000 stamina and stamina has been buffed, which we'll get into soon as well, the user is also going to be super tanky. So you can't go wrong with this set. You have everything. You have the utility of slowing players, the damage from the bleed. You're tanky yourself as well. Even in a straight up, I wouldn't say 1v1, but even if there's players coming after you, and even if you can you just bleed somebody and you run in circles, and then you wait, you just do that the whole time, and he can't hit you back, and he's forced to use his heals, and you just shoot 10 bullets and you run in circles again. What is he gonna do? Takes 5 seconds for you to die to a bleed, and it's just really annoying. But yeah, I hope the developers will reconsider this. I've talked enough about Predator's Mark, so let's continue on, I guess. Tacticians Authority. 5% skill haste and 5% skill power. Little bit underwhelming, but I guess the 5% skill haste and 5% skill power are to make up for the reasonably strong 3 and 2 piece, because those are, 10% skill power and 50% skill haste, 15% skill haste on the 2 and the 3 piece are really, really strong. So I guess these values are a little bit lower to make up for it. And then the improved Tacticians Authority. Using a skill at the max bonus will reset them. Yeah, this is quite a complicated one. But basically, I'll put this in human words for you as well. Every time that you get your stacks up to 30%, and you use a skill, which sets you back to a 0%. Now, that time, you can build stacks again, and then the next time it will go to 60%. So the first time that you build up stacks, it goes to 30. You use a skill, and then from that moment on, you can build it from 0 to 60%. 60% extra skill power, that is, of course. But you have to, using a different skill than that you used at the 30%, at 60%, has a 40% chance to set the buff back to the first. This description is just AIDS. So let me put it in human words for you. If you have a support station and a first aid, you can build up your stacks. You have 30% stacks, then you use the first aid, you have 0 stacks again. Now, because you used the first aid, you used the skill, you can build it to 60%. And then if you're at 60%, if you use the support station, the other skill, then you have a chance that instead of it going back to 0 stacks, it goes back to 30 stacks. If I hope that explains it for you. And this chance that it goes back to 30% is increased by 20% for every 3,000 electronics that the player has. So if you have 9,000 electronics, that's 60 plus 40% chance to get 30% stacks instead of 0 if you use a skill when you have 60% stacks. Oh my god. I don't think I would have even understood that if I explained it to myself. So yeah, maybe in the future I'll go more in depth about this. It's pretty strong. It's more situational than you might think, but yeah, I'm not even gonna try. So let's just skip that. We have 4 new exotic weapons. I'm not gonna talk about weapons anything at all really, because I already talked about all of this, plus all of the balance changes to the high RPM weapons in a video. I've already got the comparison up. I uploaded it a couple of days ago. If you want to check that out, be my guest. It shows you that the house is really strong. Big Alejandro is also pretty strong. Devil and the Heel are also pretty strong, but I think that the SVD is still better because of the better accuracy. That's a short story, but if you want to check that out, there's a whole video for you to check out. So gameplay changes. I'm gonna skip this premium vendor stuff. New vanity items when you get an encrypted cache. I don't know, some new stuff. I want to keep it to gameplay for now. We have adjusted PvP modifier to balance time to kill with the new stamina improvement. So I wonder if they changed this. So on the PTS, we had 3 weeks. On week 1 and week 2, the damage modifier was changed from 0.42 to 0.46. And then on the last week of the PTS, it was changed to 0.49. Now I wonder which one it is. I wonder if it's 0.46 or 0.49. Either way, I think they're both still too low. I think the PvP modifier should at least be something like 0.55. Because yes, we have stamina did get buffed, and that's going to make players tankier, but we don't want players to be overly tanky. We don't want players to just be able to run around forever, right? If you shoot a couple bullets at somebody, he should die, even though it's an RPG game. So I imagined a situation in patch 1.8 where stamina would get buffed, but if you would not run with stamina whatsoever on your build, you would actually be squishier in patch 1.8 than that you would be in patch 1.7. But that's not the case, not with either of the multipliers that they applied in the PTS. So I think time to kill is still too high. I hope they went with the 0.49 instead of the 0.46. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem right from day one. Oh, grenade cooldown was increased to 6 seconds. It was 3 before. That's nice. That is really good. That is really, really good. It's going to be a nerf to final measure. But that's definitely going to help out with the grenade spam when we're talking about Rogue 2.0. So I like this. This is really good. Got nothing more to say. Perfect. Perfect. Critical hit chance is reduced by 50% when hip firing. Perfect. Dude, nerf that hip fire into the ground. Removed reticle when hip firing. Perfect. Nothing more to say. Good, good, good. Let's keep going. Replaced all instances of the weapon damage gear statistic with weapon. Okay, so this is the gloves. You know, on the gloves you have the flat weapon damage that has been changed to percentage-based damage. It's good because it's going to make lower RPM weapons just as good as the higher RPM weapons in comparison, you know, relatively. Very good change as well, so got nothing more to say there. Fixed an issue with the grenades that could become invisible if thrown exactly when going into a down state. Okay. There's also a lot there are more instances when you can make a grenade invisible in PvP. If you throw a grenade when you're right about to sprint, or when you throw a grenade when you're about to go into a combat roll, if you time it right, both of those instances can also make a grenade invisible. I see that they haven't addressed those, but I guess this is addressed. So, you know, good thing. Deconstructing high-end gear will give you division tech. Okay, that's the turn speed for all agents has been increased slightly. That's good, I guess, because it's a little bit too slow now. Issues with the Hunter's Fate 4-piece bonus not reaching high. This is bugs. This is bugs. So this one is not a bug, I guess, but this was something PTS related. So on the PTS, they changed Tactician to where the turret would not give stacks anymore. But on the last week of the PTS, they reversed that change. So yes, turrets do still give stacks, and they give them at a reduced rate, which is not true. They still give 0.2% stacks per turret shot, but it's that the 4-piece has been buffed. I don't know if we can see that back. The 4-piece has been buffed, so instead of just 0.2 stacks per bullet, you only get 1% stack per bullet, but it only works for you now. Again, I think I'm just not gonna go over Tactician because you're never gonna get that unless you see it in action. So Tactician I think it's a buff to solo players, but it's a nerf to group players. I don't know. That's something that requires its whole other video. So yeah, that's that. Fix the bug regions. Okay, this is bugs. This is just bugs. Vote kick. Yeah, so this is UI stuff. Also not important. I'm not saying it's unimportant, but not for this video. Exotic weapons. Okay, all of this has already been included in the weapon damage video. So check that out if you want to know how well these weapons still do. Talents. Adrenaline will now give the user a 2-second immunity to all status effects. So this is disappointing. It used to be 7 seconds, which I thought was pretty good. 2 seconds is far too low to actually, you know, justify taking this. You could end up in some situations where you're playing solo and you use this as a playmaker talent, where somebody drops on a shock turret and you preemptively use a medkit so that it cannot shock you if you time it right. But other than that, I don't see much use for this. 7 seconds would have been really good. 2 seconds is far too low to justify taking this talent over something like critical save. Adept will now give you a single stack, and the timer is refreshed when you use another skill, so it's going to work just like competent, which is good. 7.5% crit chance is strong when you use a skill, so you know, good thing, good change. Issue. Yeah, just bugs. Then we got to the skill. Another bug with the support station would still... Okay, so this is the 100-meter thing that I talked about in the Massive Please Fix video. Fixed an issue where the support station buffs would stay, even if the station was disrupted. Good. Another bug fixed. Fixed an issue where the support station healing rate would be inconsistent. So this was the major thing that I wanted to fix for this patch. The major bug, and I'm very happy that they did. Does it work perfectly now? No, it does not. There are still some issues with it, and yeah, I don't really think they can ever fix it, to be honest with you. It took me a very long time to figure out how the support station works right now, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Maybe this is going to require its own video as well if that's something that people would want. But basically the thing with the support station is that there's a mechanic now in place where players can only receive healing from one support station at the same time, but the debuff is applied to a support station itself and not to a player. very, very complicated. But basically, it comes down to that in some situations, when you have 2 support stations, the weaker one will basically take over, and in some situations, the stronger one will take over. Now, I did actually figure out how to manipulate this on the PTS and how to actually get it to work to where the stronger support station always heals you. And I did actually, I was able to figure out how they coded this, so to speak. So the good thing about the support station change is that good players that understand the mechanics of the game will now be able to manipulate the support station's healing rate to get it to heal them for more than it otherwise would have had if they don't pay attention to how, when, and in what order they place their support station. So it's good. It's a step forward, although the support station, when combined with multiple support station, it's still not perfect. But maybe I'll make a video about this if there's enough demand for this. The turret, the PvP modifier for all turrets have been decreased to 35%. I think this only applies to the flame turret. I would be very disappointed if this applied to the other turrets as well, because the only turret that did way too much damage was the flame turret, because it already had the CC. I think the normal turret had, the damage wasn't crazy, and it was useful in some cases, I guess, for the players that want to play with that. I hope this only applies to the fire turret. I didn't test this, but now thinking about it, it should only apply to the fire turret. The other turrets were fine in terms of damage. The sticky bomb delay has been removed. I guess this is good for PvE. I think the delay was originally my idea, which I introduced in 1.4, and a lot of people did not like this, so I'm sorry for that. But I guess the detonation time was way too long. I was like, when I talked about it, I was talking about half a second, but they went all the way with like 1.2 seconds. So it's been removed now. Sticky bomb's gonna be back, so to speak. I don't know if it's gonna one-shot people. I don't think so. I don't think it's powerful enough. But if you want to use it again, it's usable again. So hey, that's a win-win. Remove the ability to activate first aid while firing. Big nerf for the hybrid builds, because basically you need a healer now to heal yourself up while face trading. Thing is though, golden tip for you, you can still place a support station, then start shooting and aiming down sights, and then blow up the support station mid-combat. So a lot of people that don't have a lot of skill power, they can basically use the support station as a mini first aid just for that purpose alone. And then somebody that's not using the support station but just the first aid, he's not going to be able to do that, and he literally has to stop firing to be able to heal himself up. So this is kind of a big change. I'm not a big fan of it, but hey, it is what it is, right? I guess Massive has their reasons for this, because a lot of the non-skilled players probably can do this, just like with headshot damage. I'm not going to go into that right now. It's a sad thing, but hey, whatever. Survivor link. Updated the survivor link tooltip to clarify. I don't know. This is UI stuff. I don't know. Recovery link. Auto revive will now deplete the Tactician Authority bonus. Oh! This is a nerf to the solo players that use Tactician's Authority. So they buffed Tactician's Authority for the solo players, but then... Okay, I guess... But why only for Tactician though? Why not for Striker stacks or Hunter's Fate stacks? I don't know, that seems so odd to me. Pulse, agents will now be able to use the pulse when the cooldown is over, even if the skill is already active. This is really good, because if you had a strong pulse with a low cooldown on your team, and you're trying to, keep adapt up, or you're trying to keep pulsing all the time, you had to wait for the duration to be done before you could use it again. So the duration is 20 seconds. A strong pulse could be on a 10-second cooldown with triage, so... This is really good. Allows you to use the pulse more often. Got nothing more to say. So accommodations, patches. I mean, we're getting new accommodations and patches, which is nice. But what else do you want me to say? It's more stuff to do. And we already went over these three as well. Striker and Reclaimer. Let's see what else we have. I'll go back to this. Survival Underground. Bugs. Rewards, bugs. Okay, so this is the last thing we're going to talk about. Striker and Reclaimer. So, I'm going to be honest here. I don't know a whole lot about Striker, because Striker required the player to spec into Stamina in patch 1.7, and it still does in patch 1.8, and I didn't mess around with this too much, because Stamina kind of sucked in patch 1.7. So, yeah, I think I'll mess around with this, but I think... I don't know. Let me just, I'm not going to go into this too much right now. I don't know yet. I don't know if this is strong or weak yet. We're going to have to figure it out. I didn't do too much testing with this on the PTS either because I couldn't get my hands on Classified Striker because the stash, I couldn't get access to my main character. I don't know. There was a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, I didn't have the chance to test it, so I'm not going to speak up about this. Reclaimer, 6 piece. The support station gets a 40% chance to not have a cooldown. Okay, so everybody knows how Reclaimer works, right? And this is the change that they're making. Yeah, okay, so basically how it was before is that the support station would have a 50% chance to not have a cooldown, and that chance would be increased by 10%. That chance would be increased by 10% for every 2,000 electronics. Which means that at 10,000 electronics, you would have a 100% chance to get your support station back when it would be blown up by an NPC or by another player. Now, they changed the scaling of this a little bit. So in patch 1.8, it starts off at 40% chance, but then the chance is increased by 20% for every 3,000 electronics, which means that at 9,000 electronics, well, you're basically going to see you're going to see your support station instantly get back every single time. At 9,000 electronics, that chance is 100% because you have 3, 6, 9,000, 60% plus 40 is 100%. So it's a buff to Reclaimer, but they also removed the revive time on it. So the revive time is back to 5 seconds. And that's basically it. Now, what I miss with this patch notes a lot is that, you know, I see all of these gear sets scale with main stats and that kind of stuff. And I think that this is going to be really annoying when you want to play with in Last Stand or Skirmish, because it's all of these scaling numbers, they're all not going to work properly when your gear gets normalized. What I really would have liked to see, with the addition of so many gear sets that just rely on all of these bonuses that go up by stamina, by electronics, by all these things, that they would normalize everything to 1401 main stats instead of 1200 and 72. And of course, then you have the argument, but what about the high-end builds? They're going to be different as well. Yeah, but increasing to something is always better than decreasing to something, because that means if it works in a normal game, it's also going to work in Last Stand and Skirmish. While now, like 80% of the players, they're going to min-max their build. They're going to reroll their shit. They're going to optimize it, and then they go in the Last Stand, and then the build doesn't work. Like, oh, fuck, I gotta just get another piece or just reroll something back just for the build to work. Well, you know, the other way around, it doesn't really work like that. Yeah, you might have main stats too much in one area or the other, but it's never going to make your build not work. And sure, there are going to be people who min-max their build so that it doesn't work in the main game, but then it suddenly does work in Last Stand or Skirmish. But that's fine. Those people on purposely chase those min-maxed builds, and they on purposely go out of their way to get a couple of extra stats in those game types. That's completely fine, but now it just hinders the entire player base, where they basically have to create 2 versions of each build just to get it to work in PvP outside of the Dark Zone. It's terrible. That's one thing I really would have liked to see in these patch notes as well, and I'm sad that they didn't do it. There's also some new shield scaling, right? Like, I thought there was something about the shield scaling as well. I don't know. I might have missed it. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, there's just so much stuff that I can go over. I can talk about defense, whether it's good or bad right now. But I'm looking at this, and the video is already over 40 minutes long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it here, and then anybody that sat through the whole thing, hey, very much appreciated. Thank you for watching the video. But I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna prepare videos for 1.8. I'll be back tomorrow with a video with live streams and everything. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Or like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later.